Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 7 of Computer Science Principles, where today we're going to be taking a step back away from the technical aspects of computing, and we're going to be talking about intellectual property. So, what is intellectual property? So, intellectual property is something, well, you may already know this, but for those of you who don't or who are unsure, intellectual property is something that you have created. It's not something that exists physically. It is something that exists in the world of computing. You have created it. You have spent time. You have spent energy. You've spent money. You've used resources to build this, and it belongs to you. So, an example of intellectual property would be if you've drawn a picture. If you opened I don't know, some artist software, and you've created an image, or you have created some animation, or you have created a software program. Those are all things that you've created. They all contain intellectual property. You've spent time, you've spent energy and effort, possibly money, to build it. So that is what intellectual property is. It belongs to you. It's yeah. So imagine you were using some of our pixelation tools to create an image, and you posted it online for your friends to see. So you used the pixelation tool, the black and white one or the color one. You created the image and you posted it for your friends to see online. Facebook, MySpace, Pinterest, wherever you guys post social media to. But a week later, you find out someone took the image and put it on a t-shirt and then was selling it for $10 each. So how would you feel in this situation? So you've spent time and effort and energy building something. You made it available for people to look at. You didn't specify what they could do with it. You didn't say you can't download this. You didn't say you can download this. But then you realize that somebody is using your intellectual property, your image you spent time and effort into building, and is now, without your permission, using that image and is making money from it. So how do you feel in this situation? So know how I would feel. I would feel pretty upset. $10 a pop for a t-shirt. You could be making that $10. How much does a t-shirt cost from one of the Hobby Lobby or something? I don't know, $4. You could print your own t-shirt, or you can go online and you could upload an image for the online printing companies, and I'm sure they don't charge $10. So this person's charging $10 each for a t-shirt and is making, I don't know, 20-30% profit on that. So yeah, I'd be pretty upset about that. So today's activity, we're going to be looking at some copyright investigation. So looking out at Google Classroom today for our links. So we have our PowerPoint presentation that I'm presenting to you right now. We have a digital information news article. So that is the item that was just being referenced. We have our poster, which we're going to talk about a little later. And then we have links for the 3 YouTube videos that are included in today's presentation. So if the videos don't come out in the presentation very well, here are the links. You can go ahead and click on them here and watch them directly in YouTube. So we should have a supporting news article. So we're going to read the news article. You're going to highlight and underline any information in this article that you want to know more about. And at the end, we're going to write a 10-word summary of the article. So let's go over to our supporting document news article here, and it's there's a little animation here showing you this is how you highlight, this is how you select text, and this is how you highlight it. So what do it want us to do? So this is our article here. There's split over a few pages here, so it'll take you a few minutes to go read that. So it wants us to let's go back a slide. So highlight or underline any information about in this article that you want to know more about, and then at the end write a 10-word summary of the article. So go ahead and I'll show you. So if you want, whatever you want to highlight something, you can just select the text you want, and you can hit the highlight button here, or if you don't want to do a highlight, you can do an underline like this. Okay, so go ahead and read it. It's pages 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then at the end, go ahead and write just a 10-word summary about what that article, or what you got out of that article. Go ahead and pause the video and then come back when you have completed that. Okay, so we have highlighted any information that we want to know more about, and we have our 10-word summary at the end. So this article brings up an issue around copyright. Based on what you've read and your own experiences, what questions do you have about copyright? So I can't answer any specific questions you have because this is a recording, but I would absolutely suggest, if you have any questions about copyright, Google is a great place to go. Wikipedia is a great place to go as well. So Google any questions you have on copyright, check out Wikipedia, and if there are any questions you have, that'd be a great place to go. Anything that you're unsure about, you can raise through Coach O'Neill, and he can get back to either myself or one of the other TEALS volunteers, and we can try and help you out as well. But copyright is a difficult area. There's lots of loopholes, there's lots of holes, there's lots of areas that are gray. It's not black and white. So are our current copyright policies helping society or hurting society? So based on what we read here about the news article, the dance moves in the game, are our current copyright policies helping society or hurting society? So go ahead and think about that for a minute. Go ahead and think about that for a minute, and then pause it for a minute, and then come back once you've had to think about it. So from my point of view, for the most part, I think copyright policies do help society. There are, like I said, copyright is a gray area. There are aspects of it which are difficult to understand and which can cause friction and issues. And there are times where it seems it can be more of a hindrance than a help. But for the whole, I would say that copyright policies exist to help society, and for the most part they do. So let's go ahead and watch a video here. So copyright overview. And if this video doesn't work too well, as I mentioned before, it's available from the link at Google Classroom, so you can go ahead and watch it directly from YouTube if you want.
As you know, we're all interacting with digital devices day and night. Digital media offers an empowering set of tools. Everyone can access, move, reshape, and reshare creative content in all kinds of new ways. As we use our devices, we are consumers of creative work, music, movies, books, images, games, software, and more. We're also creators, as we take photos, write and record songs, make movies, write stories, develop apps, games, and more. Since we all interact with, create, and share each other's work, knowing the rules of the road for getting and using creative work legally and ethically is one of the essential literacies of our time. Those rules are governed by copyright. In the past, copyright was something that only big publishing houses or movie studios needed to think about. But today, copyright is more relevant to our day-to-day activities than ever before. As we navigate the many choices we have as both creators and enjoyers of media, there are some important legal and ethical considerations we need to keep in mind. Like, just because something is easy from a technology standpoint, like digital file sharing, that doesn't mean it's automatically okay. Our internet communities work best when we understand the basic ground rules and treat each other fairly. Respecting the rights of artists and creators benefits all of us, as we, in turn, are artists and creators.
All right, so basic overview of let's play it again. Skip to the next one. All right, so that was a basic overview of copyright. Let's take a look at copyright in practice, and again, this link is available through Google Classroom as well.
Let's look at how artists and creators benefit from copyright, and how copyright encourages and rewards speech and creativity. Because of copyright, creators get some control over their work. Often, it's economic control. Like they get to decide where their work will be sold and for how much. This helps them earn money from their creative work.
Sometimes, artists are more focused on artistic control, so their creations stay true to their vision.
Either way, guaranteeing that control gives artists incentives to produce more work. Take, for example, these guys. Dude Perfect got its start on YouTube doing trick shot videos that went viral. Now they have a huge online following and make money from ad revenue.
Nice!
Their viral videos also gave them new opportunities to collaborate with famous sports personalities. And it keeps going. One of the dudes, Corey Cotton, wrote a book, Go Big, that shares the secrets of building a business through social media. Copyright creates a marketplace for creators and artists, like this.
So, the Dude Perfect guys chose to make their videos free and available to everyone, but they still own them with copyright. And other people don't get to copy their videos and put them up online anywhere they want, right?
Right. This control over their videos made it possible for them to gather a large online following, which in turn provided more opportunity for creative work, like the book deal and TV appearances.
Here's another example of copyright at work. In 2014, Taylor Swift decided to take her music down from Spotify. Some people weren't happy. She did several interviews about her decision. In an interview with Time magazine, she said,
I tried it and I didn't like the way it felt. I think there should be an inherent value placed on art. I didn't see that happening perception-wise when I put my music on Spotify. With Beats Music and Rhapsody, you have to pay for a premium package to access my albums, and that places the perception of value on what I've created. I just don't agree with perpetuating the perception that music has no value and should be free. Also, a lot of people were suggesting to me that I try putting new music on Spotify. I felt like I was saying to my fans, if you create music someday, if you create a painting someday, someone can just walk into a museum, take it off the wall, and it's theirs now, and they don't have to pay for it. I didn't like the perception.
copyright makes that her choice. She gets to decide who distributes her music, and she didn't like how Spotify was doing it.
Okay, here's a completely different example. Wu-Tang Clan did something really crazy. They released an album edition of one.
What? What do you mean, one?
I mean, only one copy. The plan was to have it play in only museums, and the only way to hear it would be to tour the museum. Wu's RZA said, the idea that music is art has been something we advocated for years, and yet it doesn't receive the same treatment as art. Especially nowadays, when it's been devalued and diminished to almost the point that it's been given away for free. In the end, Wu-Tang decided to sell it to a private collector for $2 million, with the agreement that it cannot be exploited for money for 88 years. Weird, huh? For Wu-Tang Clan, part of the art was its presentation as a collector's item. Copyright makes that an option for them. They have the right to decide how their music is distributed, even if it's crazy.
Well, that's fine for the Wu-Tang Clan, but I don't see anyone else doing that.
Right, most bands wouldn't want to do anything like this, but copyright gives them the control they need to experiment with creative ways to release and profit from their work. Someday, you might be a recording artist with music of your own to share, maybe on YouTube or Spotify, or maybe not. Maybe you'll have your own ideas for how you want to release your music. Copyright means you have the choice.
Okay, so great example of copyright in practice and how it's used. I think we've got one more video after this one. Let me see. Creative Commons copyright. So, this is kind of important because this determines when you create something. Creative Commons has a set of default options, default settings, default copyright settings that get applied, and you can decide that if you want to use Creative Commons, you can say, well, I don't want to abide by this one, but I want people to abide by this one. I want people to have the ability to copy this file and give it to other people, but I don't want them to have the ability to sell it for profit or something. So that is Creative Commons copyright, and so this is an overview of that.
When you share your creativity, you're enabling people anywhere to use it, learn from it, and be inspired by it. Take the teacher who shapes young minds with work and wisdom from around the globe, and the artist who builds beauty out of bits and pieces she finds online, and the writer whose stories use ideas and images crafted by people you've never even met. These people know that when you share your creative wealth, you can accomplish great things. They and millions of other people all around the planet are working together to build a richer, better, more vibrant culture using Creative Commons. To understand Creative Commons, you need to know a little bit about how copyright works. Did you know that when you create something, anything, from a photograph to a song, to a drawing, to a film, to a story, you automatically own an all rights reserved copyright to that creativity? It's true. Copyright protects your creativity against uses you don't consent to. But sometimes full copyright is too restrictive. What about when you want all those millions and millions of people out there to use your work without the hassle of coming to you for permission? What if you want your work to be freely shared, reused, and built upon by the rest of the world? Luckily, there's an answer. Creative Commons. We provide free copyright licenses you can use to tell people exactly which parts of your copyright you're happy to give to the public. It's easy. It only takes a minute and it's totally free. Just come to our website and answer a few quick questions like, will you allow commercial uses of your work? And will you allow your work to be modified? Based on your answers, we'll give you a license that clearly communicates what people can and can't do with your creativity. You don't give up your copyright, you refine it so it works better for you. Welcome to a new world where collaboration rules. It didn't even exist just a few years ago, but now there are millions and millions of songs, pictures, videos, and written works available to share, reuse, and remix, all for free. Want to work together? Then join the Commons, Creative Commons.
Okay, so one word on copyright. Everything that they've said is true. So when you create an item or an object, a piece of art, a program, something physical, the copyright for it belongs to you. Now, there are times when that is not really the case. So think of a situation where, this week, when I'm at work this week, there are probably various things that I will do. I might create a PowerShell script to automate a process or a routine. I might create some documentation that gets given to a customer to describe how something works, or how to implement something, or how to use a piece of functionality. Now, those are all things that I've created, but the copyright does not belong to me because I am paid to make those items. So the copyright in that instance belongs to my employer, and that is similar to a lot of songs. If a manager comes to an artist and says, "Hey, I need you to, I'm going to pay you to create an album of pop music." The artist creates that music, but because they're being paid to create that music, if they're being salaried to create that music, then the copyright doesn't necessarily belong to the artist. It belongs to the distributor, or the company that's paying the artist to make that. So just a word on copyright there. Just because you create something, now if you create it in your own time, then absolutely yes, it belongs to you. But if you create it during work hours, for your employment or during your employment, then it actually belongs to your employer and not yourself. So reread the article. So going back to Fortnite news article here. So go ahead and reread the article in order to answer these questions. So what was digitized? And I think, do we have no. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't want you to write these down. Just kind of think about it. So what was digitized? What was the goal or purpose of digitizing it? Is someone benefiting from that situation? Is someone benefiting from that being digitized? And if so, who is it? Is someone being harmed in this situation? And if so, who is it? And was that harm intended or unintended? And how do you know that? And then annotate the entire article by adding the following symbols. So add a plus next to sentences that show benefit, add a negative next to sentences that show harm, and add a face next to sentences that show impact. So over in the news article, you have your face, you have your plus, and you have your minus. If you click on the face, you can either right click on that and do a copy and then paste it wherever you want it to go, like that. Or if you're on the shortcut keys, usually Control C, or in the case of my Mac, Command and C, and then Command V will paste it in there. Anybody using Windows or Chromebooks, use Control C, Control V to copy and paste. So go ahead and update your supporting news article with the negatives and the positives and the faces, to show the benefits, the harm, and the impact. Go ahead and pause and then come back once that's been completed. All right, so we're going to skip the prompt because this would imply that you're in a room with a group of people, and we know that you're not at this point. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the wrap up. So going back to our files in Google Classroom, go ahead and click on this one here, the poster, and that will open up as something that looks like this. So what I'd like you to do is complete the sentence, choose help or hurt, and then add some quotes at the bottom that justify the sentences that you wrote in the top. So I think copyright, complete the sentence. I think copyright can, and either delete, help, or hurt. So it says either I think copyright can help society because, or I think copyright can hurt society because, and then provide quotes from the news article in here to support your sentence there. And that will be our final exercise for today. So once that's completed, you are completed. Thank you all for joining today. Hopefully you know a little bit about copyright now, and I will speak to you again at our next lesson. All right, thank you everybody. Have a good day.